मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
रसिक हो नमस्कार. सहर्ष सादर करीत आहोत ज्ञानसाधना गीत. कवी प्राध्यापक प्रवीण दवणे, संगीत विनय राजवाडे.
शिवाचे मंदिर सुंदर मानव्याचा ध्यास निरंतर. सत्य शिवाचे मंदिर सुंदर मानव्याचा ध्यास निरंतर. गुरु शिष्याच्या नात्यामधली प्रतस्थ मन साधना. सदैव उजळो आपुली ज्ञान साधना ज्ञान साधना. अज्ञानाचा तमः सारुण विश्वात्मक स्वर येई उजळून. अज्ञानाचा तमः सारुण विश्वात्मक स्वर येई उजळून. शूरवीर संतांचे पूजन जागविते चेतना. ज्ञान ज्योतीने
A very good evening to one and all. Myself, Ms. Pokre, the proud student of Satish Pradhan Dnyanasadhana College, Thane. On this occasion, I would happily welcome you all and thank you for joining us on the 16th program of 40 Glorious Year organized by the Department of Computer Science and Information Technology. Today, our topic is what is innovation? As we all know, our college is celebrating 40 glorious years of being in education and modernity. So our college is presenting 40 unique programs. So I would like to request the leader of our army, our principal, Dr. C.D. Marathe sir, to share few words. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. I welcome you all to this program number 16 out of 40 programs that we are going to celebrate throughout the year on completion of 40 years to our institution. Today's program is titled Everyday Innovations. This is really a fascinating title by which this program is named. Now, as far as I know, there are examples that everyday items transformed into life-changing innovations. And I think in today's program, as today's speaker, Ms. Smitha Ojam, is going to throw light on everyday innovation. I hope it is as regards technical innovations. I welcome Smitha Ojam, madam, to this particular program. Now, as I said, that there are examples that everyday items, those have transformed life-changing innovations. Some of the innovations are done by the kids. As far as I recollect few examples, I see that soccer ball that generates electricity, basically kinetic energy converted into electrical energy. A candlestick holder that produces new candle. A cardboard school bag that turns into a desk. Coffee cup lid acting like a temperature gauge. Nowadays medical drones used for quick delivery of life-saving drugs. At one place I saw a caution board in the form of a banana skin. As you know that banana skins, when they are thrown on the roads, one can step on it and can fumble on the road. So that idea is used over here as a caution sign where banana is kept with a torn skin. Another important innovation that I came across, that is slides besides stairs. Parking zones showing a red light when parking slot is not available, green light when parking slot is available. And to add one more, I have seen somewhere sockets, electrical sockets, in which there are now USB wall sockets. Now, because everywhere, even mobile chargers are coming in the form of USBs. And therefore, these kind of innovations can really change our world. And therefore, today's program is going to be a brainstorming, and our students may come out with some ideas that can have good impact of innovation on everyday life. With these few words, I conclude and once again welcome Smitha Ojam, madam, for this particular program. I welcome madam once again. Thank you.
I would like to express a sincere thanks to the principal of our college, Dr. C.D. Marathe sir, for being an inspiration and pillar of strength behind us. Moving on further, I'll call upon our assistant professor, Mrs. Shilpa ma'am, to introduce the guest of the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Greetings to one and all. I'm Assistant Professor Shilpa Hatewar from Computer Science and Information Technology Department of Satish Pradhan Dnyanasadhana College. It gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to grace all of your virtual presence. It gives me tremendous contentment to be presenting the welcome speech for the program number 16 under the celebration of 40 glorious years of Satish Pradhan Dnyanasadhana College. It is a delight to say how grateful we are to Ms. Smitha Ojam ma'am, who has accepted our invitation to lead the webinar for the topic Everyday Innovation. We are feeling glad that such an eminent personality is a part of our endeavor to make this webinar a memorable and successful event. Before we begin our webinar, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who sincerely committed to this event to make it as a success. This event would have been impossible without the support of each and everyone present here. The topic of discussion for today's webinar is Everyday Innovation. The ability to continuously generate new ideas and innovation has become imperative as markets grow more global, open and competitive, and as customers' expectations grow more diverse and demanding. Organizations are realizing they must commit to innovation as a key strategy for the success and accept and support innovation from everyone. Our world demands a new perspective, a new brand of innovation, one that is broader and more inclusive. Our world demands everyday innovation. To learn more on this topic, I introduce our honorable chief guest, Ms. Smitha Ojam ma'am. She is currently working for Google as engineering leader. The educational credentials of Ms. Smitha Ojam ma'am are she is Bachelor of Science from IIT Bombay and Masters of Science from Georgia Tech. Her professional credential includes 14 years of industry experience in enterprise software, data warehousing, collaborative filtering, streaming big data, and large-scale distributed system. She is leading enterprise commerce platform in Google, which is responsible for G Suite revenue, G Suite identity infrastructure, G Suite reporting data platform teams. Prior to joining Google, she was working with Facebook and Microsoft. I call upon Ms. Smitha ma'am to take us further on the subject of everyday innovation. I am confident that expertise of Ms. Smitha ma'am will provide important insights on everyday innovation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thanks for being here today, for giving such innovation, for introducing me. Thanks to this entire chance to speak to you. I have mastery actually 18 years part Okay, sorry for the disturbance, guys. I think a little bit of technical problem. Is this sounding better for you? Okay, perfect. So that's good to know. I did change a little bit of my settings here. So thanks everyone, and thanks for your patience for doing this. So let me start this again. I think you can also project the slides at this point. Perfect. That's great. Yeah. So as I was saying, I have 18 years of experience, and today I'll be walking through my experience of innovation in this journey of 18 years. And in this 18 years, I have learned from some success examples from my own journey, some failures from which has taught me good examples, which have taught me some good lessons. And also, I have observed many more innovative people around me and what are the habits they have and how do they go about innovating. Dr. Marathi also gave such wonderful examples of innovation around us. So with that, let's get started. Next slide. What all I'll cover today. First, who I am, what is innovation, what does it mean to me? And in the end, I will also talk about its and not just an individual innovation. The innovation comes from the whole team around you, and what does it mean to build a successful team. With that, I think next slide. So these are the few things which my friends identify me as. So I thought I'll just put some words out there. But a little bit about myself. I grew up in a small town in Rajasthan. I did my education till 12th there. And after that, I went to IIT Bombay for computer science and engineering degree for 4 years. And after that, I went to US for my master's and spent 18 years in US with master's and then working in Microsoft. I think in Microsoft, you might remember, I don't know if you guys know about Exchange or SharePoint or email, the Microsoft email, right? Those are the products that I worked on. And they were the early days of cloud computing. So there was a lot of innovation there. Then I went to Facebook. And in Facebook, I worked on core infrastructure projects. So something which will, the systems which I built there is hit every single time when you load Facebook. So it was a very large scale distributed system that I worked on. Just to give you an idea, it used to serve about 7 billion queries per second. So that was a pretty innovative product by itself. And now here I am at Google. And what do I do at Google? I think folks must have known about Gmail. It's a very popular one, I know. Then Docs, Sheets, Slides, and all of this they package together, and we share the productivity suite with the enterprise, whether it's a small business, whether it's a medium business, whether it's education or non-profit. We give this productivity suite, and that is the multi-billion-dollar of business where I contribute to in Google. So that's on my professional journey. But on my personal side, what all do I love? As you can see that after spending 18 years in US, I felt that India is just blooming with innovation and technology. And in general, India is a great place to be at. So we came back to India. I love my morning and evening chai is very important thing for me to keep innovating. I recently took over yoga as well, which helps me stay humble, stay respectful, and continue with my day with happiness. So that's again a new thing that I have picked up after I came to India. And I live in Bangalore with my family, with my husband, who's a part of like Deshmukh family, and also with my two kids, 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. So that's a little bit about me. And now let's go to the next slide, please. So what comes to our mind when we say the word innovation, right? It means success, ideas. It means brainstorming, creativity, some illustration. So it can mean a lot of different things, right? And being an engineer, for me, I always want to see things in formula, right? So I thought about what innovations mean to me. And then I came up with this simple thing of, next slide, please, of innovation is let me go through some examples. Like when we look of innovation, like is it about just sending a rocket to Mars or sending the rocket to Moon or a Mars rover? Yeah, of course that is innovation. But innovation also comes in a day-to-day life, right? And it could be a small process change. It could be a small thing like Mr. Marathe said, a board in the shape of banana peel, right? A caution board. That was such a good idea. It could be a process, like I changed the process of how instead of something taking 2 years, now takes only 2 months because we had process improvement. We had so many process improvements in terms of COVID testing in the last few months, where we were able to scale the COVID testing, right? And that's called innovation. So let's go to the next slide to go to that formula which I come up with for innovation. So innovation for me is inventing something new, something different, something which is not considered the normal day-to-day thing. And what is the impact of it? What does it bring to us? How does it help us? That is called the impact. So you need to bring something new. It needs to change some problem. It needs to change something. It needs to bring an impact. It needs to solve a problem. And when those two come together, that makes innovation, right? Let's continue looking at each one of them, because I think once we try to grasp each of them, we will get more ideas of what we can do, and hopefully that will motivate you all as well. So let's go to the next one. Yeah. So invention. Invention is about thinking, about generating ideas. They could be good, they could be bad, but coming up with new ideas. Questioning the default. Questioning that COVID-19 test can take 2 days or 3 days. Why can't we get it in an hour? Why can't we test something else in order to get that thing, right? So doubting that default is a very, very key process where we don't accept the things, but we are saying, I'm not sure, maybe it can change, right? And ideas, always remember that you have to generate a lot of ideas for 1 or 2 to click. So never shy from doubting the default and generating new ideas. With that next slide. Now, what does the impact mean? Now we have generated the ideas, we have doubted the default. Now comes the hard part, right? You have to put those ideas into action. You have to speak up that you have an idea. You have to let the world know that you are doubting the default and you have something different to offer. You have to use your I would say speak up just doesn't mean that you have to go and hold a mic. It could mean writing a blog post. It could mean letting your principal know, letting your teachers know, letting your office workers know. And somewhere there, because you're doubting the default, remember that consensus may not be with you, right? Because consensus is usually with the defaults, because that is a proven thing, that is what exists, right? And in the end, when you put everything together, it is possible that things might not work. But impact comes from being right. And you don't have to be 100% right. You can try different things, but sometimes you will be right. And that one innovation is going to provide you so much satisfaction, right? And it's going to help people around you. It's going to help people in the world, right? So I will, the next one is what it means to me. Next slide, please. Right. So now we learned about the first thing was that you need to invent something. Secondly, you need to have an impact, and that will create the innovation. Now, when you are going through this process of invention and creating an impact, what are the characteristics that I have seen sometimes work for me, and I have seen people around me have shown the similar things? The first one is you have to be open for taking risks, right? Next slide, please. I'll tell you a story behind this, which might put things into perspective. Open for taking risks. Like, there are two stories in my lifetime that comes to me when I think about risks. The first is when I was in probably middle school, or I was in like fifth grade. Sorry, not even middle school. I was in fifth grade, and I was in the gymnastics class there in my school. And my gymnastics teacher, one day, when we went for the practice, he had this ring of fire, right? We are just learning our gymnastics, and he brings this ring of fire, and this is like a real ring of fire. Okay, it is made of that cycle ka aluminium, the cycle ka ring that you have. He had a cloth dipped in kerosene, tied around it, two handles, the two teachers holding it, and he lit it, and it was a ring of fire. And he asked a couple of us, he's like, "Hey, would you like to jump through it?" And I immediately said yes. What I saw was excitement. I saw a challenge, something which I have not done before, right? And of course, we had learned some tricks of doing the tumble and everything efficiently. So he's like, "Just go and use your skills and jump through it." And I'm holding it. And I jumped through it. And at that time, I realized that I was open for taking risks. And it gave me that confidence that, yes, I can do it, right? So this was a good example of success. My second example is of taking risks comes from my IIT exams, right? We all know the IIT joint entrance examinations is it could be a very challenging task. It is also a fun task. And I applied for JEE, joint entrance examination, and I did not clear it the first time. At that time they used to take only 1,500 students or something, and my rank was 2,300. And then again came to my point, should I take the risk of trying it again? Or should I just go to another college, which is also a very good college in Rajasthan, and I could just go there? With the support of my family, I decided to take the risk. I went for 1 year of very hard, rigorous preparation, and also I enjoyed preparing for it. And in the end, I was able to, my risk paid off once again. And I was selected with All India rank 70, and in the girls, All India rank 3. Right? So nobody thought of it that, oh, I'll be able to get to this level, but it was really very gratifying to see that I took the risk, I worked hard with the support of my family, and I was able to achieve a goal. Right? This is all about being an individual there. Now we go to the next bullet point of open for critique. Right? I think this, when you are doubting the default, when you are questioning how the things are done today, there will be some critiques for you. There will be people who will support you, but there will also be people who will say, maybe this is not going to work because this is not the default. This is not how things are done, right? And you have to be open to accept that feedback in a very humble way. You should be able to analyze that feedback. Maybe there is some value in that feedback. Maybe you can learn something from that feedback. Maybe there is not, right? Maybe you need to tell yourself, no, this is my plan. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is how it will be done, right? I remember one of my work experience of being open for critique, where I was given a problem to solve. And the problem was, I'm just simplifying that problem, that something which takes 4 weeks of engineering time should be reduced. And it should be reduced to be done in very less time, right? And I was new to that project, so I came with a very fresh mindset, and I came up with a solution that, hey, if we do X, Y, Z, we should be able to bring it down to minutes. There were very senior people, there were very experienced people who cautioned me, saying, Smitha, you are oversimplifying the problem. Something which we have understood, that we have been working on the system for 10 years now. We know how this will be done. And it is going to take you 2 years to bring this down to like from 4 weeks to a few minutes. And at that time, I took their feedback and I said, no, I have a plan which I can do it in not 2 years, but I can do it in 4 months. And this is how I want to execute on that plan, right? I was open for critique. I was open for understanding, and that helped me shape my plan. But I was also open to sharing that, no, I have my plan. I know what to do, and I can do it, right? And at that time, you feel like you're going against the advice of everybody. But there are always some people who support you. So you have to lean on that support in order to go forward. So open for critique is a very important part. And it can sometimes get emotional as well, because taking a critique is not easy, right? You have to train yourself to take that critique and turn it into positive energy. The final point is open for chaos. Next slide, please. So whenever you start something new, right, and you are in the middle of the process, you will go through lots of ups and downs. I really experienced that chaos in technology and how that chaos can actually create the innovation in Facebook. I joined Facebook when it was a very small company. Right? Today it is It has more than 1 or 2 billion people who are already on it out of 7 or 8 billion of the total population. Facebook has all of those people already on Facebook platform. Like, so building a platform that can serve so many different people and so many different types of things, whether it is newsfeed, whether it is Instagram, whether it is WhatsApp, right? There, how do they innovate in middle of that? Because there is also that chaos going on, because you have to handle so many different things, and the company is very small, the company is new, so many different priorities are coming into picture. And this is where I learned in Facebook, if you have to innovate, you need chaos. Innovation comes when there is chaos and there is an idea which comes out of it. If everything is running smoothly, why will you doubt the default? Something has to go wrong, something has to go need attention, something needs that sorting out. So a little bit of chaos is always okay, and the new ideas come out of that chaos, right? With that, next slide, please. So I have been managing teams for almost 12 years now, and in all my 3 experiences, whether it was Microsoft, whether it was Facebook, or whether it is now at Google. At Google right now, I have a team of 95 engineers working on working on the multi-billion-dollar business that Google has. Right? And we have to constantly innovate. We have to constantly think. There is a problem, and the solution we have may or may not work because the market is changing, right? And these problems are not like jumping through the ring of fire, which one person can do, or they're much bigger in scale. Just the innovative people is not going to work. You need an innovative team at that level. So when you guys join the workforce and you start building your own teams, you start growing in your career, you will realize that the success comes from everybody working together. The innovation comes from working together, right? And as a leader, I follow certain principles in order to build an innovative team. The first is the culture of listening. Listening more to the customers, listening to ideas, listening to problems that are getting solved. But leaders, they listen, they absorb, they think. Don't react fast enough. Take time to that for that listening. And that's where the people around you, the team around you, is going to trust you as a leader, right? Secondly, as a leader, I always tell my leaders in my team, as well as I've observed the leaders around me, the best leaders are the one, and the innovative teams that they produce is because they share both the good news and the bad news. They are able to balance that, and they're able to accept the mistakes. So when you grow into that leadership role, when you have that kind of opportunity, always make sure that you are transparent to your team. When you share both the good news and bad news and you listen to them, the ideas come, and then you build on those ideas. And finally, I'm also a very big proponent of ideas of bringing diversity of thoughts into the idea generation. The diversity can come from somebody from different backgrounds. Somebody staying in the city, somebody is in village, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it is diversity of different cultures, somebody grew up in a different country, they will have all different ideas. And when you hear to those different ideas, that's when the thing starts to click, right? And also remember, when you have those diverse ideas, then also you have some different type of challenges, because those ideas might clash, right? And as a leader, you have to sort out those ideas. I'll give you an example. When I was in California, and at that time, I remember I had about 35 people team with me, and my team had presence from 15 different countries. 15 different countries. And that means those different countries had different way they grew up. They had different ways of expressing themselves. They had different ways of thinking. And it was a little bit challenging because you had to bring all of these people together in order to work together. But once you set the norms of like being respectful, being humble, being able to listen everybody, come up with ideas, solve some problems, then the things start to come together. And that was my best team ever, because so many different ideas came together to solve. And this is the same problem I had with this is the same when I discussed the problem of going from reducing the time from 4 weeks to 4 minutes, and I had to do it in like 4 months instead of 2 years. This was the team that helped me do it. Right? So there is that creativity that comes out of it, which is very valuable. Right? Let me give you a few more examples. Let me just do a time check. I think we are good on time, but I'll also make sure that we leave questions in the end. Can you guys go to the next slide, please? Yeah. I think, you can remove the slides, but I will go ahead and give a couple of examples of innovation. Just 1 second. Okay, so I am back, but let me give you a couple of examples of innovation, right? One comes to my mind is in relevant to India and technology. This is like the Google example, right? You know, the Google Maps were developed in US in the beginning. They were developed for the algorithms, the data collection. All of that was developed initially in US. And in US, it means that there's a much more structured roads that you can plan your map system for. The directions of like, okay, turn right, turn left, you know that clarity in the directions. Now, when the same product came to India, it did not work. In India, we had to think in a different ways. And why is Google Maps so successful in India? What did they do differently? Right? They took that learning from US, some of it they could apply, but they also incorporated all the different things that apply to the India specific region. Right? Then they solved the problem we solved the problem for maps. You guess what? Then the next challenge was, hey, can we do the maps for two-wheelers? Have you tried that feature? I mean, it is a pretty used feature on Google Maps that you can. There are small little gully on the side that only two-wheeler can go, and Google Maps will show you that. Right? So taking a problem and solution which was in US, but applying it in the India space, That was a very big innovation from Google in Google Maps. I think in Google Docs also there is ways of, I would say, recommending completion of the sentence. You might have experienced that. Or in Gmail also, you can complete the sentence so that it saves you time. It can do the grammar correction for you. These are very recent technology innovations that has happened. Let's talk about another innovation, right? Another innovation is in the health space. I think if we look at some of the numbers which we have, and I should be able to share some of the numbers here. Do you guys know that a woman dies in childbirth every 15 minutes in India? Every 15 minutes, a woman dies in childbirth. India accounts for more than 11% maternal deaths globally. 2 children under age 5 die every minute in India. 4 out of 10 children are too thin or short for age because they have not been able to develop. Right? These are very, very hard, emotional, touching problems in India which needs the solution. It comes under the category of maternal health, something which is very close to my heart. And Google has taken the initiative to reduce this maternal, neonatal, and child mortality and morbidity in underprivileged urban and rural communities. It's about many times, after doing a lot of research, they found out that it's many times these problems occur because we are not able to react or handle at the right time. We are not able to medically intervene at the right time, or we are not able to diagnose the problem at the right time. And again, the things which have worked in the Western world may not work in the Indian rural world. And that's why we need those innovative ideas to take those solutions, to take the learnings from the different places and apply it to the India space. You can, this problem is not solved. This is the problem which people are still working on, but it is a pretty big problem in India. The third example, which I will share, and this idea comes from Maharashtra, from Pune, so you guys will be very happy to hear that. So there was a competition of Build for Digital India, like solve the problems which India is facing by the young people like you. And and I was one of the judges in the Build for Digital India. It was a joint collaboration from India government and from Google. So I was one of the panelists to judge the teams. And I was so humbled and impressed to see the ideas which people came out from. You can look it up, Build for Digital India, and you will see a lot of good ideas. One of my favorite idea, and it was really good. It won one of the first top 3 prizes as well. It was about handling the garbage problem in India, right? So we have these garbage trucks which do the pickup, and they have some schedule which they go after. This team came up with a specialized camera that can be put on the side of the garbage truck. And when it is going around the road, it is going to scan the picture of where it is going, and then it will find the garbage. Oh, there is a big dump of garbage lying here. So it will self-identify. I found a garbage at this location. It will send a notice to the municipal committee. And the next week or the next day, the municipal committee will come and clean that up and it will mark it as done. And all of this, you can think of it as just a process, but it is a big innovation, right? It is an innovation in that whole process which this team came up with. And they actually had a working model working in one neighborhood city of Pune, and their municipality had accepted that idea and they were trying it out. And this was done by, like, I think maybe three or four students um, from some of the colleges in either in Pune or somewhere in Maharashtra. So very innovative ideas that are there. So I hope this gives you a glimpse of what innovation means to me, what I have learned, and I hope that it encouraged you also to think innovatively and to solve the problems for the people around you, for the world around you, to make the world a better place for everyone. With that, I think this was my talk, but we can go over some of the question and answers now. I think we have time for that. So.
Thank you, Smitha ma'am. Thanks for your well expressed and wonderful presentation. It was truly an enlightening experience, and I'm sure everyone would resonate on this. Very soon, we will start our question and answer session. In this session, I would pose some questions which are shared by our students. So, shall I start, ma'am, question and answer session?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So, the first question is coming from Yogesh Bari, and he's asking, what is disruptive innovation? Can you tell us any disruptive innovation that Google has done?
Oh, there are many.
Many.
There are, of course, when the Google started, there was no way to search that efficiently. That information was not on your fingertips, right? So the Google search itself is a very big innovation that happened around 2002, 2003, right? So I would say that is definitely a disruptive information where all the world's information is organized and brought to you so that you can use it in efficiently. That is one example. The other example which I have is we all knew the art of writing documents, and if it is a digital document, we would write it on a Word document. And this I'm talking about maybe a decade back or even a little bit more, maybe 14 years back, right? We would use the Word document in order to write it. We can convert it into a PDF. When the Google Docs came out, that was the time when we started multiple people editing the document at the same time and collaborating on it in real time. It was not about I write a doc, I attach it in an email, send it to you, you review and do certain things, then you send it to back, and then I do some things, right? We have been in that. I at least, I know I'm a little bit old, so I have been in that space of technology as well. But that is also a very disruptive example where the Google technology came up with how to collaborate on the document in real time with multiple people on it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for this information. Now we move towards the next question. And the question is, how do I encourage innovation in my organization? Or how do I build an innovative culture? Ma'am, this is a very thoughtful question and it is posted by Kajal Vishwakarma.
Yeah, thanks, Kajal, for the question. As I shared in my talk about what does it mean to build an innovative team. If you have to innovate, you need to also have the culture of listening, being transparent, accepting diverse set of opinion. You need to be open for taking risks, open for chaos, open for critique. When you have all of those things come together, that is when you will see that innovation from your team.
Thanks, ma'am. I think Kajal fully agrees with you. Now we move towards a third question. Next, we have Sachin Ingle, who wants to know what innovation can we have in teaching industry beyond online session. Seems Sachin seems to be a very studious student.
Yes,
Yes.
and I think this space is just ripe for innovation, right? I mean, I think our current situation has given more and more importance of it. Um, I would like to give kudos to every single professor here, every single teacher who is taking the classes online. I mean, their job is so hard at these times, right? Their job is really hard. They have so much to do, and every problem which you see your teacher is facing, you can think of solving it innovatively by yourself. Whether it is about figuring out whether you are even paying attention or not to the class, whether you are sitting there or doing something else, whether it is about why do I have to put everything on the slide? Why can't I just type? Why can't I just write on the screen? Why can't I get a very good touch screen? Why is touch screen so expensive? Why can't I make it cheaper to available? Right? Um, I would say there is so much to do. And then other thing which is very important in the online education is it's like there's so much content available. What content is good and what is bad, and those contents is I'm so sorry. Those contents I think will help us if we can filter those content to the extent which we know that this is the useful content and this is not, then it would be a great way for us to have that innovation, right? So innovation in online learning is just a lot of things happening, and I think it's just if you think even for 5 minutes, you can come up with like hundreds of ideas there.
Thank you, ma'am. All the teachers who are present here will be very happy by this question. So, next we have Shubham Vaichal, and he is asking, does Google conduct any innovation related programs for students like workshops, webinar, online courses, etc.?
Yes. So I think if you look up for an event called Built for Digital India, so you will find very good examples of where we help the teams of doing that. So that's a very good example. There is and there are also uh, some kind of like a coding competitions that we do, which also helps. But yeah, there is always some program or the other than you can search for like Google for India, right? If you search for Google for India, there is a program which goes. So yeah, so those are the things that we do.
Now, the next question is posted by Rajshri Rajguru, and she is asking, how can I personally become a better innovator?
Yeah. So for that, I think remember to take risks. Remember to question the default. Remember that your ideas are heard. And remember to speak up when you get a chance. Right? Remember to lean on your teachers, on your support system in order to get that help. Don't try to do everything on your own. Remember there are people around you. You are a member. You are part of a very good college, and there's such a good support system. Take advantage of that support system to bring your ideas out to do something.
Now, the next question is coming from Aishwarya Raghuvanshi, and she is asking, how do I know if my idea is good?
There's something called prototype phase, right? First, instead of investing too much time into it, create a very simple prototype and test it out. And in that testing, reach out to your customers. Again, listen to your customers, whether it is solving the problem or not. So prototype and testing is a very important part of innovation.
Now, the next question is coming from Nancy De Silva, and she is asking, how can I get other people behind my idea?
Yes. See, one thing is you don't need everybody behind your idea, right? You need some people who believe in you. And few things which I can say about is uh, there are a couple of them. One is the data. I think when you say this is a problem, it is not just words. You have researched that this is a problem, right? You have researched that yes, you have spent time understanding the problem, so people will know that. And you know what? When innovators speak, when the people who have ideas, when they speak, their true passion comes out. You don't have to do anything. You just have to speak up. You just have to bring your ideas forward. And your passion for that solving that problem is going to come. And that passion is going to help get people with you. Right? That passion is going to have people come with you. The other thing that I have also seen, the leaders whom I have followed, uh, the leaders that I have been part of, are the ones who are very respectful, very humble, very transparent, and those characteristics in leadership are very important if you want people to follow you. Right? You don't want to be just the boss. You want to be the leader, where people look up to you, where people respect you, where people want to work with you.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks for such a wonderful explanation. Now, the very interesting question is coming up from Kajal Gupta, and she's asking, how can a final year students make innovative projects? Since typically these students makes the project which are already in the market.
There are so many problems to be solved, and it's okay if you're solving the same problem again in a different way. It's okay. Like you don't need a brand new problem to be solved, but your mind is thinking. That is very important, right? As I said, you have to generate a lot of ideas in order, and many of them will be throwaway ideas. And you will try, and you may not succeed, and that's okay, because that is part of the journey. That is part of your learning, right? As long as you are putting your hard work into it, as long as you are giving your best, as long as you are identifying a problem to solve and you're solving it in some way, that is a very good effort from your side. So you should pat your back for doing that. It's not about you will do something and create something that will change the world. No, that's why I talked about everyday innovation, the small little things that matter.
Ma'am, due to time limitation, I am picking a last question of our session, and this question is coming from Akanksha Taylor, and she is asking, uh, how to develop a child brain to think innovatively.
How to develop a child brain
To think
innovatively.
innovatively. Very nice. Indeed.
I think
Yeah.
very nice and very appropriate time also during the COVID times when the screen time has increased for all the children, right? And how we turn it around uh, for the better. I'll tell you a few things. I don't think I have the silver bullet or the silver answer here. I'm not a that I don't have that experience in child psychology or anything, but I'll tell you from my personal experience as well as what has worked for there. Um, I think one thing is give the kids open-ended problems, right? For example, I mean, puzzle is a good way for thinking as well. But if you see, puzzle has two pieces, right? And they will always fit like this. This is one way of. This is the only way that the puzzle will come together, right? But if you buy blocks which can be assembled and built in a different way, and different things will come out of it. That I think is like when you give that option to the kids of like there are many possibilities of the outcome, and just go and play and explore whatever you want. Like small little blocks, if you buy, that helps in the innovation. Right? Thinking of my so this was actually this is it is so true that my I asked this question when my kid was born, and to another of my senior who had two daughters, and they were very successful, and I said, can you give me one tip on what did you do with your daughters? And he would say, every weekend or every month we will go and buy some materials. We'll buy cardboard, or we will buy some wood, or we will buy some paint, but we'll buy some raw material, and there will always be a corner in the house for the girls to go and do whatever they want to do, right? So it left that whole space for innovation. We collect so many cardboards in our house, right? I mean, you can do so many things with that cardboards if you give it to the kid. I'm sure they will come up with many ideas on how to do it. So, and let them be wrong. Let them be. It's okay. Like they might build a missile tank with a very weird shape, and it may not be perfect, and that's okay. So I think giving them that open space to do more, to think more, and to do things differently, and you accepting that, right? Uh, we also, as parents, can sometimes become the helicopter parents they call, where we are like, no, do it this way, do it that way, right? And then we have to remind ourselves, it's
Yeah.
okay, it's okay. Like, let them do it, let them do it wrong, it's fine. So I think being accepting of different ideas, and maybe some ideas are just wrong, but still encouraging and motivating them is probably would be my personal experience. But again, I'm not an expert in this area.
Thank you, Smitha ma'am, for this wonderful interactive question and answer session. It looks like we have covered all our questions. I think we are good for now. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure being with you today. And thanks again for joining us today. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Smitha ma'am. And over to Vaibhavi. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Honorable dignitaries, distinguished guests, and all dear participants. On behalf of Satish Pradhan College, its entire fraternity and the organizing committee, I feel immense pleasure to take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to our eminent guest, Ms. Smitha Ojam ma'am, to spare the time from her busy schedule to grace this webinar with an extremely relevant address on everyday innovation. I take this opportunity to specially express my deep regards and gratitude towards Sri Satish Pradhan sir, Treasurer Satish Seth sir, Secretary Kamlesh Pradhan sir, Mansi Pradhan ma'am, our Honorable Principal Dr. C.D. Marathi, Head of Department Vaishali Jadhav ma'am, and an extended thanks to our technical team, which was supervised by Abhinandan sir, Rajmohan sir, Tripti ma'am, and our dear friend Amardeep Bhanu. My deep sense of appreciation also goes to our all dear participants who chose to be live with us and attended this webinar with great enthusiasm. My deep sense of appreciation also goes to our organizing committee for taking topics that really matter in today's age and time,
Once again, I thank you all for being with us. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.